I'm Giorgi. Today's talk will be about HTML, CSS, and TypeScript to native GUI applications. Hello. There we go. Oh, there we go. A little bit about myself. My name is Giorgi. I'm a software engineer at PlaceOS. I'm from Tbilisi, Georgia, that tiny little country next to Turkey, below Russia, and yeah, there. And I'm best known for creating and maintaining the Grid framework, which is a web framework. It's pretty cool. You can use it, try using it, which is wonderful. Just a shameless plug. This is my GitHub tag, username. You can find me there, and you can also find my email and ask me questions and anything you want. I'll be glad to answer. So, today's discussion will be about a GUI framework, GUI framework, written in Crystal programming language, which pretty much translates HTML into components and glues them with TypeScript. And the generated UI is a native GTK window without any embedded browser technologies. What led to certain design choices? Like I had to choose between GTK and Qt5, GTK4 and Qt5. Actually, GTK4 was implemented in a PR from Giop Junior. I think I mispronounced the username. I don't know. And why did I choose GTK? I chose GTK because it has a lot of support from multiple platforms and is much better documented in Crystal rather than Qt. I know Qt has a wonderful chart for it, but I couldn't get it to work. And I also tried other UI libraries and they were incomplete. I chose HTML. I didn't choose HTML. Actually, this project started by me finding an HTML parser, which pretty much spewed out custom HTML objects, custom HTML tags. So you could parse custom, like, for example, application tag, header tag, or some random tags you could define yourself. So I opted with HTML because I like it. It's wonderful. It's easy to use, and you write complex structures with ease. I also, as I said, TypeScript. Just for your information, the TypeScript I'm using is compiled into ES5 for duct tape, which is an engine I use in this project. It compiles down to ES5 and pretty much gives you an ability to write TypeScript and run it on this old engine. Why I chose JavaScript? That's a great question. I ask myself that question every day. Why would you choose JavaScript? But in this case, JavaScript is the one going with the actual technology stack because you have HTML, you also have CSS, and why not JavaScript, right? I wanted Lua, but Lua is a bit out of the place for that. As you know, GTK supports CSS, and you can use CSS to do cool things with it. Like you could style it, you can move it around, and such. So right now, my talking and a format of presentation is done. I'll move into the demonstration part. So, okay, here we go. I hope you see my screen, right? Should be able to. So, should I increase the font size? Okay, wonderful. So, do not pay attention to this line. We do not pay attention to this line. So what this is pretty much takes in constant variable, which is pretty much a directory path which is right here, static. This has images, pages, styles. This is what I was talking about, custom tags, custom everything. And this gets parsed into GTK objects. As I said, this is CSS to style it all. And this is TypeScript to do the logic. This current version is old. This is an old version. Like I made some improvements to this, and I'm still going to demonstrate this. I wrote the standard library for this myself, and actually wrote the whole JavaScript standard library side for this myself as well. So what this does pretty much is make run. Okay, we can make build. Okay, this is going to build the project right now, and I have the experimental feature multi-threading on. That's running. Okay, wonderful. Make run. That's running as well, and make API. This is a project which pretty much utilizes an API I wrote in Grip to have a little synchronous chat, I would say, because, oh, by the way, GTK ships with this, which you can use to like debug and style and modify and such. So if you do user 1 and user 2, okay, hello, send, refresh. There you see, hello, hi, send, refresh. This looks a lot like the old web when you used to have to like refresh it to get the messages. And I think it's pretty cool. And all of the logic that's on here, all of the UI generated is TypeScript. As you can see, this has a custom this has a custom component imported, chat. And chat has multiple components, as in a button, a box, entry, list box, such and such. Also has a state, also has helper functions with which you can do cool things. So all of you see here, all of this gets compiled down to this unreadable mess. And once you minimize this, it's more unreadable. So you don't actually have any way to debug that. So now I'm going to show you the other project I've been working on. It's the same project, but it just has cool things in it. Hold on. Okay. This is the cool one. Ooh. There we go. Watch this now. Look at this. Okay. You see that? React. I implemented React for that project. So you can write React code in TypeScript, which gets compiled into a Crystal language application which has a GTK window generated from this. So let me show you its features. Okay, so if I do node, make nodemon and start a nodemon session, you see this is the window generated from that. So if I go and, for example, not that one, if I minimize this and you see the window, if I go, for example, and I feel like removing this whole section, bam, commented out, save that. Quick refresh, it's gone. I feel like commenting this out, bam. Oops, that might have broken it. Yeah, most probably, because I have a comment there. Go away. If I do this, and yeah, restart. You see, it's all gone. You can also have custom components, which is a custom component. It extends the box. Box is like div. Imagine box as in div, divider. And you can return this, and you can also pass in properties as in such as this. I also plan on implementing inline styling, so you can provide this CSS style, like style sheet and font size, something like that. Font size, there we go. And this can be like this as well. Oh. 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 I messed up. Okay. We have it like this, so it's interactive. You can click that and get the output hello from button one. And the cool thing about this is that you pretty much have React, which is my own definition based on how I wanted it to use, how I wanted to use it. Pretty much it just, the compiler just requires the namespace React. So the create element does this, recursive mount does a lot of interesting things. And as the other project, I wrote the standard library for this as well. So you have box button, which pretty much calls a proc from which is registered in the Crystal side. You can also do this, register custom Crystal side logic. And this, you can also pass in closures by pushing pointers to the stack and advanced things, which I have documented in somewhere else. So as you can see, the orientation is enum based, pretty much just writing React. It's almost 75% like just like writing React, but instead of rendering all of this in a browser, you get this guy. So hold on. You get this. You have a scrolled window. You have a list box. You have inner text modifier, something like that. One button, two button, and that's it. That's the cool part about it. So I that's the second one. Experimenting with existing design patterns was React. I took the React design pattern and implemented in this scope. So that's all. That's all I wanted to show you. I think it was pretty cool. It is something I've been working on, not constantly, but I've been working on it for a while now, 3 years, I would say. And it constantly changes. Some of you might even know that it changes the name because sometimes I don't feel like the name suits it. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to hear. Any questions? Could you text me the questions here because I cannot hear the voice clearly?
Will you be able to like use other React like library with this kind of tool, or is it just like pure React you can use? Like it's can you use like other React libraries with this in the future?
Yeah, as long as you're like it's a open border. You can do whatever you want, literally. If you want to use, I don't know, other libraries, I would say, what would you say? For example, I chose React because it supports TSX, and TSX is something I'm keen of because you can do this. This is bad in a sense, but it makes it somewhat easier to generate large pieces of UI and abstract them away like this. So you can use whatever you want, like if you decide to use, for example, Angular, you just need to implement whatever Angular calls are required to do something like that and hook it up with the native calls so you can generate UIs. And then you can also create an event loop somewhat, like did update, did mount, did unmount, something like that. I already have that in the backend of this application. Imagine this as front end and the backend is actually running in a Crystal application.
Yeah.
And the talking layer is TypeScript, JavaScript, duct tape.
More questions from the room?
What was the question? I can't hear the
So
speech.
what you were talking about, the lifecycle methods, that's an older version of React. What about the newest or newer versions, or React Next? Would that work as well?
Could you text me that? Send a message here so I can read the question. React Next. I have no idea what React Next is, but if you implement the proper underlying needs of it, as in JavaScript related, it will work. Just to be frank here, this is all the JavaScript there is that I'm using right now. So nothing much. Just this has. Oh, hold up. This component it's just a wrapper around this and such things. So it's mostly the code is mostly taken from React and modified heavily.
Did that answer your question, or something
Can
to
be
clarify?
followed up.
As long as you implement the required things. For example, the React component itself, this is React. It's a function wrapper. It's a class created, exported as a instance of a class of function wrapper, which contains this. This is the only actual name React uses. These all are made up, not made up, just implemented by me. The only thing from React I'm using is this.
All right. There are more questions in YouTube. I don't know if they were answered already. I'll go with one and then we move to the next speaker.
No more questions, yeah?
Sorry?
Are there any more questions?
Yes.
Okay. Back then. There we go.
If I understand things correctly, ask Kevin, Crystal is the glue to communicate with GTK?
Yeah. Can you text that as well? I can. Is Crystal just glue to communicate with GTK? GTK, it's not glued. TypeScript is the glue one, not Crystal. With Crystal, you can pretty much write whatever you want, but mostly it's just, talking with GTK. As in, GTK is not running in a separate process, it's running in the actual Crystal process. So you're pretty much using the binding of GTK to write something like that. I was actually planning on writing something like that, but that does have a lot of latency, as in, once you send, for example, a command to create UI, it needs to generate the UI in GTK or something else. Sometimes that has a lot more latency. This seems to be a lot faster because the responsiveness is pretty good. Okay, that was the last question. Okay, thank you all. It was great showing this project I've been working on. I'm passionate about it, and I'm happy if you liked it. If you didn't like it, you can open an issue on my on the GitHub page of it, on the repository, I'll be glad to answer. Thank you.